Hello, everyone. Welcome back to video number 4. I'm going to jump right in today. We're going to be talking about assessments. And I know that might sound like something that is not fun or enjoyable, but I want to challenge you to open your mind and perhaps walk away from today seeing assessments in a different light and maybe seeing them in a way that will not necessarily cause more work for you, but instead be something that you actually look forward to as an instrument to guide your instruction and to help you make sure that your students are able to do more with the information that you have given them. So here we have our PowerPoint today. We're going to let this just kind of guide us through assessments. You see that funny railing at the top, like there's the stair railing, which is the straight pathway, and then there's the other one that's jagged. Really did this intentionally because assessments should not always show that we're making steps forward or growth is happening. Instead, sometimes it's just a check, right? We live here in the Midwest and the weather doesn't always abide by the season. In spring, it can snow. In summer, it can be really hot or a little chilly. You kind of have an idea of where it should go, but you can't really say that in certain seasons, you're going to have certain weather or temperatures for sure. Same way with assessments. So here's what we really want you to focus on within assessments. We want to make sure that you're using the right measurement, because there are different tools to use, that you're using that measurement the right way, and you're using it for the right reason. So this is a cartoon many of you have probably seen before where it says, okay, guys, we're going to be really fair. Everybody's got the same assessment. You ready? Everybody has to take the same exam. You're all going to climb the tree. Well, wait a minute. Some of us have arms and fingers. Some of us have to live in the water. You see these animals sitting there and they're just going, I don't think this is the right measurement. I don't think this measurement tool is being used the right way. And I'm not sure this is the right reason for this. So I want to introduce you to a couple terms that educators tend to use interchangeably, which is totally fine, but we want to make sure you're aware. So assessment and evaluation are two different things. Assessment is a systematic collection. So it's intentional, it's planned, and it's ongoing. It doesn't just happen at the end of a unit or at the end of a day. We are collecting data in order to inform our instruction and what our students need. The assessment piece helps us make informed decisions because it's constant informal and formal ways of really checking for understanding within our students. So that's assessment. Then the other term is evaluation. So evaluation is one moment in time, a little snapshot, not a video of things. And it's the measurement of the outcome of the goals, right? It's a measurement against the outcome. So we said you're supposed to know A, B, and C. So now we're going to evaluate. Do you know A, B, and C? And you're probably thinking to yourself, but that sounds like an assessment. Okay. Assessments provide evaluation, but evaluation doesn't always provide assessment. Hopefully that works for you. Let me say another way. Assessment increases quality, whether that's the quality of knowledge learned or the quality of instruction provided. Whereas evaluation judges quality of the instruction given and the information provided from the student. Okay, don't spend too much time worrying about those terms. I just want you to be aware of them. We're actually going to come back to that at the end here. So let's jump right into our 3 types of assessment. Our first type of assessment is diagnostic, then formative, and summative. These are words you need to be very familiar with and very comfortable using in certain situations. First one is diagnostic. So a diagnostic assessment recognizes or looks at the curriculum before things happen. So this could be a pre-test that you're going to give and a post-test. This can be found in the curriculum that you use. You could do a Kahoot, right? A diagnostic assessment helps us find out or diagnose what the students currently understand or know about the information. So I could use a Kahoot and just kind of do a quick little review. I could do a raise of hands. I could say, everybody show me a shoulder share, 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to say some terms, and number 1 means you've never heard it in your life, and a 3 means you could stand in front of the class and teach us about it. Just tell me what you know. I'm just very quickly looking around the room or gathering information so that in my lesson, if I see that everyone already knows multiple terms I'm talking about, I'm going to review them, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. It's going to help drive my instruction. A MAP test is a great form of a diagnostic assessment, even though it's usually given towards the middle or end of the school year. It's diagnosing and finding out what students understand about content. A self-evaluation, an interview with your peer or with a student teacher. Those are all diagnostic assessments. It doesn't always have to be paper and pencil. Jumping on to formative. All right, formative happens during instruction. This is a process. This is not a test. Please hear me. A formative assessment, it can be kind of tricky because it sounds like form or that it's formal. No. Formative is not a test. It informs during instruction for at least the immediate or near future use of this information. So it's kind of helping you make decisions on the fly and really keep track of if your students are learning what you're trying to teach them. So this helps give you information. We could have reflection journals, peer evaluation, self-checks, discussions. You could even have your students going to different stations. And then as they're at the stations, you're walking around and you're just evaluating what's going on. That's a formative assessment. Maybe you're going to check in with a couple kiddos that you know have a language barrier or a learning disability. You're going to say, can you show me how you would manipulate those squares to make this shape or that math assessment or whatever it is at a station? And that quickly gives you a formative assessment to go, okay, they've got this, I can move on. Or these 4 or 5 kiddos, I'm going to want to make sure I have something for them tomorrow to review things. Or maybe in our next lesson, they're going to hold back. So lots of things can happen in real time. It doesn't take a whole lot of planning, but it does take a whole lot of awareness to be able to do that, because you have to know what your goals are and what your objectives and your standards are in order to assess if the information's getting through and as you're keeping track of their learning. Final one is summative. This happens after either the whole unit, after a day of learning, after an activity. This is the information we get to, like if you've ever watched Hidden Figures or any sort of NASA thing, they have the go, no go call. Like there's a certain moment in time where we decide, is this happening or not? Am I moving on in my lesson? Or do I need to sit a little longer with this information or these concepts so that all students can have a solid formative understanding and then provide evidence of that in a summative state? So can I move on, or do we need to go back and review? This helps us make sure the information has been learned and can be applied. Anybody can parrot something back, but can they take the information, internalize it, and then display their understanding for us? So this could be a unit test. It could be a portfolio, a performance, a graphic organizer, even an exit ticket. Anything that's handed into me as the teacher so that I can evaluate if all of this information really was understood. So remember, there's that word evaluation that I talked about at the beginning. It helps us evaluate it. It means we're measuring or judging the quality of work along with checking if we can go on or if we need to circle back around. So 3 types of assessment: diagnostic assessment at the beginning, formative in the middle, summative at the end. Could these happen multiple times within a day or a lesson? Absolutely. They don't need to happen just once. That's what true assessment is. It is constant, planned, and very scripted kind of understanding of how to get that information in so we can help it influence our instruction. So remember, assessments are guides, not punishments. I think a lot of us were raised in school where, well, you didn't pass the test, then you just failed everything and it's all for naught. Assessments should be an opportunity for students to be able to display their understanding and also to ask for a little bit of help. So one story before we end, I used formative and summative assessments kind of at the same time when I was an English teacher at the middle school level. I think upper elementary might be able to do some of the same, but within their papers that they would turn into me, I never showed them what they did wrong. Instead, I had a system where I used different colors of highlights. So they knew that if it was highlighted in green, that meant there was a grammatical error. If it was highlighted in yellow, there was a punctuation error. And if it was highlighted in pink or circled, that meant that the content either was missing, confusing, or was not organized well, or maybe was wrong. The idea being, I would leave these little highlighted marks and things, and then I would turn the paper back to them, and they would go and work with a partner, or they would take it home and they'd be like, why did she circle this? All the answers they needed were in their notes from class. Okay, I wasn't asking them to go search everywhere to find and try to read my mind. It was going to be very obvious, very clear, very consistent issues. But the way that I made sure that that was like an assessment was it was a constant back and forth between things where if I saw that every student, I was marking that same color for punctuation, that meant the next day I was going to do a quick board work activity to review how to utilize semicolons or quotation marks or commas or whatever it was. It helped guide my instruction. And the summative side of it was to see if they could apply the information that we had learned. But again, it wasn't a one and done kind of situation. It was back and forth and an opportunity for students to grow and learn. So I hope that you, as you've experienced your courses here at Ottawa, and as you prepare to not only serve your students maybe in a more holistic way, or prepare to enter the classroom, that these terms and this approach to assessment within your lesson planning and within your approach to student learning will really take on a whole new life and be seen as an opportunity to connect with your students and to grow as a professional. Thanks.